October 26, 2023. CBS News Studios, Los Angeles, California. Two gray armchairs at the slight angle of a conversation rather than a confrontation. A small round marble table between them. Two glasses of water untouched. The quiet infrastructure of a room built specifically for people to say things they mean. The interview had been scheduled for 40 minutes. Career retrospective. The natural occasion provided by a new film, a new chapter, the accumulated weight of a career so long it had outlasted the categories built to contain it. The questions had been prepared with professional care, chronological, respectful, the architecture of an interview designed to illuminate without discomfort. Sarah Mitchell had been conducting interviews for CBS for 11 years. She knew how interviews moved, the rhythm of question and answer, the small negotiations of candor, the practiced way that people in public life give you something real inside a frame they control. She thought she knew how this one would move. Clint Eastwood was 93 years old. White hair, a face that had been photographed 10,000 times, and that still in the October afternoon light contained something photographs had never quite captured. The quality of a face that had stopped performing anything and had become simply completely itself. He sat with the upright ease of a man whose body had aged, but whose presence had not diminished by a single degree. Sarah looked at her notes at the question she had written and crossed out and written again. The one her producer had flagged as potentially uncomfortable, that she had almost removed 3 times and kept because something told her it was the only question in the room that actually mattered. To understand what that question meant in that room, you have to understand what 93 years looks like from the inside. From the outside, 93 is a number, an occasion for retrospectives and career summaries, and the reverence cultures extend to people who have persisted long enough to become monuments. From the inside, it is something else entirely. It is the specific daily arithmetic of a man who has buried his parents, his contemporaries, his collaborators, his closest friends, who has watched the people who shaped him leave one by one. John Wayne gone 1979. Lee Marvin gone 1987. Sergio Leone gone 1989. The directors, the co-stars, the people who were in the rooms where the important things happened and who are no longer available to confirm that the rooms existed. At 93, you are simultaneously the most experienced person in almost any room you enter and the most acutely aware of what experience costs, what it removes as it gives, the specific trade that time extracts in exchange for the depth that only time can provide. Clint Eastwood had been living with this arithmetic for years, had been doing the private accounting that 93 years requires, had arrived somewhere in the process at a set of conclusions that he had not been asked about in an interview until a Tuesday afternoon in October when a CBS journalist looked at her notepad and asked the question she had almost removed 3 times. The crew behind the cameras, sound engineer Marcus at his board, camera operator Daniel at his position, producer Lisa with her headphones, moved with the practiced efficiency of people running a machine they knew well. They were about to stop moving entirely. The first 30 minutes went as expected. Questions about the new film, about directing, how the process had changed from the early years to now, what he understood at 93 that he hadn't understood at 40. You get slower, he said, and the slowness turns out to be most of it. Questions about legacy. He was quiet for a moment. Legacy is what other people decide, he said. While you're making the work, you're just making the work. The legacy conversation is for afterward. I'm still in the middle. The crew moved with professional efficiency. Notes were taken. Time codes were logged. The interview was going exactly as good interviews go. Sarah looked at her notepad at the question. She looked at the 93-year-old man with the steady eyes and the face that had stopped performing anything. She asked it, "Mr. Eastwood, are you afraid to die?" The set went quiet. Not the managed quiet of a professional pause. The involuntary quiet of a room that had received a frequency it was not tuned for. Behind the camera, Marcus' hands stopped moving on the soundboard. Daniel held the camera with the specific stillness of someone who understood his only job right now was not to interfere with what was in his frame. Lisa, with her headphones, became completely still. Sarah had the expression of someone who had jumped from a height and was in the moment between the jump and whatever comes next. Clint looked at her. He did not look away. Did not look at the ceiling or the floor or the middle distance that people look at when they're buying time. He looked at her directly with the same steady, unhurried attention he had brought to every answer in the preceding 30 minutes. He was quiet, not the silence of someone searching for words, the silence of someone deciding which of several complete thoughts to offer. The silence lasted 7 seconds. In television, 7 seconds is an eternity. No, he said. Simple, direct. The single syllable of someone who meant it completely. Sarah waited. I used to think about it more, he said. When you're young, death is abstract. Something that happens to other people in other times. You know it's coming eventually, but eventually is very far away. And far away things don't require much attention. A pause. Then you get to a certain age, and it stops being abstract. He looked at his hands for a moment. The hand of 93 years. The honest evidence of time mapped in every line. I've watched a lot of people go, he said. People I loved. People who were better than me at most things, and who didn't get the years I got for reasons that have nothing to do with merit. He looked back at her. When you watch enough people leave, you stop thinking of death as the enemy. It starts to look more like the destination, the place everyone is going. And when you understand that, really understand it, it stops being frightening. A pause. It becomes clarifying. When you know the time is finite, really know it, not as a concept, but as a fact you live with every morning, it changes what you do with the time. He shifted slightly in the chair. The things that wasted your attention when you were young, the small anxieties, the professional competitions, the need to be right in arguments that don't matter, they fall away. Gradually. And what's left after they fall away is simpler and better than what was there before. What's left? Sarah asked. The work, the people you love, the mornings. I still get up every morning and I'm grateful for the morning. Not in the way people say that when they mean something general. I mean, I stand in the kitchen with my coffee and I look at the light coming in and I think, this is another one. This is one more. And 93, one more is not something you take for granted. Are you at peace? Sarah asked. 3 seconds of silence. Mostly, he said. There are things I do differently. People I could have been better to. Time I spent on the wrong things. Peace doesn't mean no regrets. It means the regrets are the right size. They don't take up more room than they deserve. When you're young, regrets are enormous. They fill everything. Every mistake becomes a referendum on who you are. At 93, you've had enough time to see what the mistakes actually cost and what they didn't cost. Most of them cost less than you thought. And the ones that cost more, you've had enough time to try to address them, or to accept that you can't. The work gives me peace, he said finally. Not the result of the work, the doing of it. The morning when you wake up and there's something to make. Something that doesn't exist yet and needs you to make it exist. At 93, I still wake up and there's something to make. As long as that's true, I'm fine. Then Clint asked her something. Why did you ask that question? Sarah was quiet for a moment. I wrote it down and crossed it out 3 times, she said. I kept it because it felt like the only real question. Clint nodded slowly. The questions we cross out are usually the right ones, he said. The things we leave in the peripheral vision are usually the things most worth looking at directly. The interview ended after 47 minutes. As Clint stood up to leave, he turned back once. Looked at Sarah. Good question, he said simply. And he walked out into the California afternoon. Back to the mornings with coffee. Back to the light coming through the window. Back to the work. Always more work. Always something that didn't exist yet and needed to be made to exist. He was not afraid. Are you afraid to die? No. 2 syllables. 93 years.